Now let's move to the second part. In the second part, we will carry out some CP property testing and mimic a network partition mode. And so first of all, let's still start with empty data in storage. And at the very beginning, all Spring nodes are still available. So let's first write some data to make some data preparation. It's still a write with key 1 and value 1. And let's do the read query to make sure that data write is successful. Let's run it for multiple times, and it always returns the same data. And right now, let's do something to mimic the network partition. In order to mimic the network partition mode, we modify the security groups of the nodes to set node 1 as a partition node. So we will modify the security group to prevent the communication between node 1 and node 2 and between node 1 and node 3, but we still keep the communication between node 2 and node 3 alive. So here to simplify the process, we have already so let's take a look at the original security groups. That is called subnet 2A security group, and the subnet 2B and subnet 2C. And let's see that for the inbound rules for each node, we allow the request to come from the security group of the load balancer, and also allow the request to come from the other two nodes in the same VPC. The same settings have been applied to node 2B and 2C. And here, to mimic the partition mode, we have created copies of the security group to change the communication status. So first of all, for 2A, we can see that we have removed the rules from node 2 and 3. For 2B, we still keep the communication from node 3, but remove the request come from the, node 1. And for the third node, we keep the request come from the second node, but removes the request processing rule for the first node. And what we can do right now is quite simple. We can just update the security groups for the instances. So first of all, for the node 1, let's change its network. Let's change it security groups from 2A to 2A SG partition. For 2B, let's change its security group from 2B to 2B partition. The same for 2C. From 2C to 2C partition. Okay, now, first of all, let's try to run the read request again and check if the partition has already been applied. Let's run this get request. First of all, it's serviced by the first node 86, and we can see that the return status is a failure, and it failed due to this node is in partition mode, inconsistent partition mode. So read data is not allowed. Let's try to run the request again. Then it's serviced by node 226. Read data successfully. It's node 2. The node 160 is node 3. It also returns data successfully. So after the modification of the security groups, we have successfully set node 1 into partition mode. let's carry out more testings. First of all, let's carry out some write operation. It's a post request. It writes the key value pair key2 value2. We can see that this request is serviced by node 226. It's an available node, so the write is successful, and it write with the key value and timestamp. And let's try to read the data with key2. Okay, the first try is serviced by node 86, which is a partition node, so it still returns the failure status that read data is not allowed due to partition mode. Let's run it again. It's serviced by 226, they return the data successfully. Let's run it for the third time. It's serviced by node 160 and returns data successfully. We can do similar things with update operation and the delete operation, but that is the idea that since currently the first node 186 is in partition mode, it will not allow both read data and write data. So now let's bring partition node 1 back into service by security group rule modification, and let's see what will happen. Let's change the security groups back to its original setting. Okay, after that, first of all, let's carry out some operations to make sure that all the 3 nodes are available right now. First of all, let's try some write operations. We can see that this write is, it happens that this write operation serviced by node 86, which has been partitioned for several minutes, and right now it's recovered and it can supply the service again. And let's try to read the data and see if all 3 nodes have the same copy. We can see that we can get the data with the key 3 just written into the storage. It can be serviced by any node.